There we go. Okay, now I'm live. And it froze up for just a second. So everybody think positively that it's going to work. Oh, look who Liz is here. It's Lance Chafin. How you doing, Lance? Yeah, just as I was coming on live, my system kind of froze up on me for a second. So we're going to have to think positively and hope that doesn't happen again, or it's going to be a very, very short show. And I had last week's show cut short, so let's hope lightning doesn't strike twice. Sean Innes is here, says, "Hey, Thrash." Tracy's here, says, "Hi, Robert," and hello to you too. And Zuplex is here and says, "Happy Thanksgiving to all." Prelated naturally. And Keithy also says, "Happy Thanksgiving." And a happy Thanksgiving to you too, Mr. Keith. I'm going to be really, really dangerous and move my microphone. How is the sound tonight, by the way, folks? Yeah, it was blocking the view of my comment station, so I had to like move it slightly. Gary Carpenter, the Carpenters. Gary Carpenter is here and says, "Greetings, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. R.I.P. Miss Carter." Yes, indeed. Rosalind Carter, you had an amazing run. You will be sorely missed. Get some rest. Len says, "What's up, Thrash? So far, not a whole heck of a lot. Good to see you guys here." Tug says, "Just popping in to say I'll be back in 20 or 30 minutes. Got a few last minute things to take care of. A problem, Tug. And hello to you, and see you soon." Tom's here, says, "Hi, guys." Tom, hi to you as well. Zuplex says, "Sound is excellent." It's always nice to get a positive thing out of you, Zuplex. Thank you very, very, very much. And a lot of people saying hello to one another. Oh, by the way, did you guys notice? Dave is starting to find himself in a position much like me where the comment section literally becomes a thing in and of itself. And you know, me with you guys, I can only imagine what it's like with Dave. But he made a Herculean effort to keep up with the comments, and I have to applaud him. But I know how tricky he can be at times. Tracy says, "I don't doubt Jimmy will pass after her. My wife, Mrs. Thrash, said she thought he was waiting for her to join him, and now she actually got a head start. Good, so she can grab a table." Tug says, "Oh, I'm sorry." Shonda says, "To Tug, hello, goodbye." Danny Staten is here. Says, "Greetings from South Carolina." Danny, so good you could be here tonight. Great to see you. And feel free to drop a link for all of your channels. Keithy is here. Says, "Hello, everyone. Good to see you all." Tom says, "What? Are you people stupid? The Carters." Tom, not the time or place. We can all have views as to the administrations, but it's never nice to lose someone. Zuplex says, "Sound not synchronized with the video." Oh dear. Only 257 says, "MST3K joke. We made it, Duck. I mean, Mac Sean." Sometimes the MST jokes go right over my head. And all kidding aside, if this sound continues to be unsync, I apologize. Oh, Wajamin is here. It says, "Hello, everyone. I'm working, so I can only listen." Wajamin, that is more than enough. And Danny, please drop a link for Wajamin as well. Let me just get rid of this antivirus ad. Oh, Len says, "Be sure to hit the like button, folks." What he said. 257 says, "I was watching Laser Blast movie again on Tubi." I haven't seen that one in ages. I really should. And Lan says, "No politics in here." Okay. Yes. If we're only remarking about how sad the loss is, not necessarily what we thought of them in the administrative sense. Gary Cameron says, "HJ, at least he was smart enough for one term." 257 says, "MST through K joke. Believe it or not, I'm not William Cat." He says, "MS23K is having a third a Turkey Day all special on Thanksgiving Day on TV and Pluto. Daryl Johnson's here. He says, Bob, Daryl, my other brother, good to see you. Oh, and 257 knows about the Turkey Day. Keith E says, Thrash, you can ignore this. I just felt I needed to type something his. I will never ignore you, Keith. House of Alex is here. He says, hey everyone, House of Alex, how you doing? So great to see you back, buddy. And Gary says, I just finished a Thanksgiving movie with Jenny Agutter, Mayflower, The Pilgrim's Adventure. I don't recall that one. A lot of people saying hello to Dave. Oh, David is here. Says hi all. David, so good to see you. A lot of people saying hello to David and Alex. House of Alex says on a night shift, so stopping by whilst I can. So glad you did. Oh, Dominic D is here too. Says, hey Bob, hey everyone. Dominic D, so glad you could make it by. And I'm just going to skim down. A lot of people saying hello to one another, and I'm actually caught up because right now you guys are as I would say, or as I think even Dave says now too. It's that fellowship where everyone's saying hello to one another. I try to skip those every now and then while I'm skipping through the oh hi Dominic, hi Tracy, hi Lance, good night John Boyd, good night Liz Girl. I might actually miss an actual comment or question. Bear with me, I do try. Keithy says Daryl Johnson is everywhere. No, savoir faire is everywhere. Gary Carpenter says Thrasher. It was from 1973. Oh, okay. That's probably why I don't remember it. Emily Miller is here. Emily says, good evening, y'all. Emily Miller, how you doing? Hope everything is going well. Your end. Mr. Wilkinson is here. Good evening, Bob. Good evening, Christopher. So great to see you. And Tom says, going to see the Thanksgiving slasher movie tonight. The first run movie I will see in the 21st century. I know I see very, very few first run movies these days in the theaters. Hope you enjoy it. It looks good. It looks good. Gary Carpenter says to Em, we missed you this afternoon. Emily says, not sure if it's been mentioned, but R.I.P. Miss Carter. Mrs. Carter, I'm sorry. Yes. Goodbye, Mrs. First Lady. Ed 257 says, yes, the movie looked good to Tom. And Dave says, going computer shopping, my laptop went into the Black Lagoon. Oh dear, so sorry to hear that. And Emily Miller says, Gary, I was watching California versus Dallas. Waste of time. I can imagine. And I hope your missus is feeling better, by the way. While we're on the subject, which we weren't. Gary Carter says, she was 96. And they were married 77 years. Holy cow. 257 goes, sock it to me. Oh, look who's here. Corey from Corey's Comedy Channel says, yeehaw, I'm finally catching Thrash live. And I'm so glad you are, Corey. It's great to see you. If you guys haven't been checking out Corey, he's been doing some great sort of secret agent stuff on his channel. Great stuff. Dan, please drop us a link. And a lot of some people saying hello to Corey, and Corey saying hello back. And Emily says, I'm sorry, y'all. She was diagnosed with Bell's palsy. I still haven't noticed any symptoms. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, miss. I'm very sorry to hear that, Miss M. Please tell her. I hope she feels better. And anyway, while I'm gonna wait till I have to wait till Tug is back before we do the trivia. Oh, by the way, tonight's trivia is going to be on the old war films, which I didn't do last week because you guys wanted the works of Norman Lear. But what do you guys want? Is there any specific topic you want to talk about tonight? Thanksgiving themes. That sounds fine. November themes. People we've lost. Other celebrities we've lost. We've lost a lot of them lately. You guys tell me. And we will act accordingly. Dave says, do have iPad and running. Good, good. Emily says, I've survived 2 bouts of Bell's palsy. Really? Really? 2 bouts. Wow. I hope you feel gooder. And Terrell is here. Terrell Eugene Bellinger is here. He says, may she rest peacefully. Yes. That's an excellent sentiment, Teb. So good to have you here. Zublix wants to talk about baseball. Okay, say something about baseball. And 2000 says, I'm going to do poorly in that trivia. Well, it's multiple choice, and I give selections, and I give, as Mama Thrash says, red herrings. So you can usually kick out one or two of the guesses as being Thrash trying to be funny. So, oh, and Dom brings up The Great Escape. Yes, that was brought up earlier, too, by the way. And Keith says, Big Bang Pop like button, what he said. And 2007 says Peanut Special was on Apple Plus. Thanksgiving theme is always good. You know, I live near Plymouth where the first Thanksgiving was. First time I had it was about 8. Last time was about 3 years ago. Well, there's a big gap in time there. And Christopher asks, how is your wife? That's a good question. And Zublik says, what was Cindy Koufax era? What was Cindy Koufax era? Oh, era. ERA in 1966. I would say his ERA was the Equal Rights Amendment. And Dave says Airplane, Trains, and Automobiles was a great Thanksgiving movie, arguably the best. And Ted wants to talk about Thanksgiving as well. Yeah, my I had aunts and uncles who actually worked. It's now called Plymouth Place now, but it was one of those living museum types where people dress up as pilgrims and reenact the events of the original Plymouth colony. And Lance James says, baseball, who's on first? I'm asking, what's the guy's name on second base? What's the guy's name on second? Yeah, I already blew the joke, didn't I? I don't know. Third base. Gary Carter says, only I just saw the Bewitched and Newhart Thanksgiving episodes. I'm trying to remember both of them, but I'm sure I've seen them. And Tracy says, I am doing a live on Thanksgiving Day, and everyone is invited. Cooking special at 11 a.m. Oh, that sounds like fun. And a lot of people saying that sounds fantastic. And Emily just jumped off the page. Ah, there it is. She's fine. Kenneth diagnosed with Bell's palsy. I don't see it, but I'm not a doctor, I guess. And Dominic D says there was a Charlie Brown movie on MeTV tonight. Saw it when I was W. Oh, and Lynn says, praying for you, and she says, please don't do that. I really accept prayer. I understand, Emily. I shan't pray for you. Should I burn some incense at least? And Dominic D says, flipping through the channels. Gary Carpenter says, what is that exactly? I'm not too familiar with it. And let's just see what we can go on here. 207 says Gary. Abbott Costello. And the member says, it's a condition that affects the facial nerves and causes short-term paralysis, which is why it was thought that she was having a minor stroke. I'm so glad you never mild stroke, by the way, of any kind. Gary Garber says, you should take it with a grain of salt. I actually take my let me think of a good one. I'll come in again. I take my diuretics with a grain of salt. I take my blood pressure medicine with a grain of salt. I take my lot with a grain of salt. I'm sorry, I'm going through a lot right now. Get it? I'm going through a lot right now. Never mind. Never mind. And Nostalgic Publis is here. Hello, Chance. What's going on? Says hello, all you happy people. It's my birthday week and Thanksgiving week. Woot! Happy birthday to you, Chance. The big 2-9, huh? And Emily says, I truly appreciate you, Lance. Isn't Lance great? And a lot of people saying hello to Chance, and a lot of people getting said hello back. And let's see, Zublik says General Curtis LeMay suffered from Bell's palsy. I did not know that. The Doolittle raid, correct? And Gary Cameron says only I found some old parodies from years gone by. Cool, cool. And Tracy's sending good health vibes. Good health vibes, I'm sure. Good. And Dave says, I had watched some Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds, pretty good. I loved The Birds. That almost made it to like one of my precursor. Actually, it did make it to my precursor, but it's what I'm trying to say is The Birds, I think, is one of the most impactful movies on the zombie subgenre. Not to mention, it jump started animal horror. I mean, before that, there was one movie that had like a shark attack in it or something like that, but animal horror was a fairly new thing. So Birds is a very influential movie. Superlook says, but I do take your high colonics with a grain of salty ponds. Sean Innes says, Zublix, my dad got yelled at by LeMay. No kidding. No kidding. Very cool. Not that he yelled at, but he was around LeMay. Oh, we just jumped again. Hang on, let me try to catch up here. Let's just see here. A lot of people saying hello to one another. 257 says Pawns is a 51 movie from year from when I take it. And oh no, I just froze up again, didn't I? Let's just see. I might actually have to hang on. I'm just gonna pin the message and there we go. I pinned somebody's message. Oh, I pinned Emily's message. So I finished Lost today. I'm not sure how I feel. I tuned out actually before that. So before the end, I'm gonna unpin your message. There you go. So I know how you feel. The last couple of seasons kind of lost me. lost me. Lance James says, Thrash, I thought you were gonna have guests on after the computer class. Yes, was still gonna have StreamYard, long and involved story, but still on the to-do list. And 257 says, oh, wait, Alfred Hitchcock. Classic. I'm assuming we're still talking about The Birds. Oh, Form is Content is here. Says, evening, y'all. Good evening to you, too. So good to see you, Form is Content. Oh, Brogo's here, too. Says, hi, everyone. And Gary, I just did it again. I'm about to pin and unpin somebody's message again. There we go. And I'm going to unpin Trace's message. Says, Gary, I want to see that. Unpin message. There we go. Gary Carpenter says, I found the old cartoon Jerky Turkey. It's still hilarious. I recall that one. I do recall a Thanksgiving special. I didn't think of it till after Dave's show about a Thanksgiving in outer space. Anybody remember this one? It was by this Canadian production team that did something else called The Devil and Daniel Mouse. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, feel free to comment in the comments below. And let's see. Pablo says, it's funny how the fictional Luke and Laura winning on Monday, November 16th, Tuesday, the 17th, 1981, on General Hospital beat the ratings of the really Lady Di and wedding of Lady Di and Prince Charles. That's actually a very cool, fun fact. Keithy says, my doctor told me to down the sodium. Oh, cut down on the sodium. But everything he tells me to do, I take with a grain of salt. And I'm not. Yeah, you saw where it was going with this, didn't you? That's a ripoff of a Curry joke, Corey's Comedy Channel. Well, to spice things up, I should say that to air is cumin, but I just don't have the time. And Zublik says, "Do you remember the LeMay ran for the vice president in 1968 under the George Wallace ticket?" Wow, I had no idea. No, I'm sorry. Literally, I had no idea that he ran for vice president under George Wallace. That is so, so not cool. I never knew that about LeMay. I know he came from a different time. That's not excusing it. So what I'm saying is I'm not surprised he did it, but that is just so not cool. Thank you, Zuplex, for letting me know that. I'm see him in a different light from this point forward. Emily Miller says, "Pod Blast. I never watched General Hospital, so Charles and Di were my favorite. You must have been a kid when they got married." And Corey says, "Keith, you're so funny." Well, we're all funny when we steal jokes from you, Corey, or borrow, or adapt, do an homage. And Sean says, "LeMay was also a little paranoid per my dad's story." I'll buy that. Oh, look who's back. Tug is here. He says, "It peaked at the contestant." Emily, I don't know if I quite recall that episode. You know when they lost me? Oh, hang on. I just want to catch up a little bit here. 257, don't watch the car movie. Dan is here. Says, "I'm here. So good to see you, Dan." Oh, it looks like Lisa's here too, by the way. Yes, she is. Lisa Field says, "Keith, you know I'm a ninja, LOL." Oh, yes, you are. Oh, and by the way, Mrs. Thrash thought your granddaughter's birthday picture was priceless. Beautiful young lady. And Emily says, "I think I was 12 when Charles and Di got married." Yeah, because I'm a little bit older than you, but I think I was like 14. So yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, you would have been a youngin, a young un, or an un young. And let's just see. I'm gonna skip through down here. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Tracy says, "I was the same age as you, Robert, when Princess Diana got married." LOL. Oh yes, you and I are, but Emily's like 18 months younger than we are, I believe, Emily. And let's just see what's going on here. Emily says, "What year did they get married?" 81. And so, yeah, 81. I was 14. And just oh, and Dan is giving us links. And Len says, "My birthday is in 3 weeks on December 10th. Happy birthday, prelated." And Emily Miller says, "I don't know. I'll be 56 in January." Well, I'm 56 now. So I thought I was like a year and a half older. I guess I'm just like half a year, but you had it better than I do. And Gary Gabriel says, "Remember, you were hatched." And Zublik says, "Happy early birthday greetings." That's very kind of you. And Dan says, "I watched the wedding at 2 a.m. And watched it live, and I also watched the funeral overnight live." Excellent. And Pablo says, "I just interviewed soap opera legend and 1988-90 Mission Impossible star. I'm going to butcher this. Teo Pengilis on my show live Friday." I saw it. I haven't just to watch it, but I saw you did it. Great coup. And Shannon says, "I climbed a mountain on Norway when Di and Charles wed." Oh, that's actually very cool. That's actually very slick. Dan, thank you for the dropping links. Emily says, "My anniversary is tomorrow. My daughter will be 37 on Tuesday." Pablo says, Variety stupidly put a photo of Donnie Marie Star Wars Season 3 premiere on their show, claiming it was the holiday special from a year later. I do remember them doing Star Wars, and it's really funny. And I didn't think about this till years later. I thought it was funny that they had Donnie Marie playing Luke and Leia because, well, they were brother and sister. And what do we find out years later? That Luke and Leia were brother and sister. And oh, and Zuberly says happy anniversary to Emily. And 2007 says Pod Blast. It's not the drones. I'm sorry. It's not the Donnie and Marie Star Wars episode, is it? No, no, that was a separate show actually. Uh, and oh, and Tug also says happy anniversary, and Pablo says you got Teo's first name correct. Oh, close enough, close enough. And I also jumped, so I'm going to go back here for just a second. Uh, oh, I see. Yeah, I was actually not as far back as I thought. Then says I'll be 53. Yikes. 2007 says, no, Bones, no. Gary Carver says, I know a guy that's so old he won, he won't even buy green bananas. That's classic. I don't have that kind of time. And Pablo says, yes, Donnie and Marie, season 3 premiere had Red Fox as Obi-Wan Kenobi back in September 77. And they had Paul Lynde playing Grand Moff Tarkin, didn't they? But I could be confusing 2 episodes. Chris Christopherson, yes, was Han Solo. Yes, I remember Chris Christopherson as Han Solo. And let's just see. Pod Blast. 2000 says Pod Blast, like when Adam West as Batman premiered on the Hollywood Palace TV show. And Pablo says Chris Christopherson was Han Solo. LOL. Dominic D says I know a guy so old that when he goes into Denny's and orders a 3-minute egg, they make him pay in advance. But I'm love it, love it, love it. And just get Chris Christopherson was Han Solo. Tom says I remember when Donnie and Marie walked the same path like a Zodiac killer. Saw it live in person. Wow. I don't recall this. And Keith says, what's the difference between finding hit in the Thrash hit in the road and he jumped off the page? Yeah, see, the problem is you guys are making so many comments. I'm trying to read as they scroll. Oh, I lost it. Well, don't worry, I'll find it. Maybe. Oh, that's why. Message retracted. I was trying to read the thing, it's gone anyway. And just I'm gonna skip through here. Oh, music, movies, and more is here. It says hi, Thrash. Good to see you, Brian. Great to have you with us. David says, surely can't be serious. I am, and don't call me Shirley. One of my favorite bits in Airplane. Tug says, I love bananas, but when I buy a bunch, they stress me out. I can't handle the commitment. I know, and if you put them in the fridge, they go bad faster. And Corey says, listening to you laugh, Thrash was worth the price of the live stream. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I'm just going to, as a lot of people are just having fellowship at this point and saying hello to one another, I think and wishing Emily rather, a happy anniversary. I think we can actually start with the trivia game. You guys want to start with the trivia game? Yeah, Thrash at the trivia. You sure we can do something else if you want to start with the trivia? Yeah, Thrash start the trivia. Okay, start the trivia. It is, and again, this is on Hollywood war movie classic stuff that would have been really, really good on Veterans Day weekend. But you guys want to do something different, so now we're doing it now. And I'm going to start as always in no particular order. And this Eastwood action flick centering on the Grenada invasion was named what? Was it Hacksaw Ridge, Heartbreak Ridge, Pork Chop Hill, or Applesauce Hill? I shall repeat. This Eastwood action flick, centering on the Grenada invasion, was named what's this? A. Hacksaw Ridge, B. Heartbreak Ridge, C. Pork Chop Hill, or D. Applesauce Hill. Only 257. B. I don't know. I love it. Well, I gotta tell you, there's only two logical answers in this, and the answers are pouring in. Uh, Dave's Heartbreak Hotel Hills. I am says I actually liked Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge is a good movie. It is not concerned with the Grenade operation, and I just gave the game away. But anyway, you know what? Zublik says Yellow Submarine. Oh, I saw someone say Dave. Hi to Dave. Is Dave here? Well, anyway, Dave, if you're here, hello. And anyway, moving forward, the correct answer is, of course, B, Heartbreak Ridge. And there is no applesauce hill, just pork chops and applesauce. And I don't have to impress you people. Okay. In A Bridge Too Far, how many bridges do the Allies fail to take? Is it A1, B2, C3, or D6? I shall repeat. In A Bridge Too Far, how many bridges do the Allies fail to take? A1, B2, C3, or D6? Hey, get it? A D6? 86. Anyone who's worked in the restaurant industry will get 86. But I don't have to impress you people. Good thing, too. Um, Dave says E, too many. Okay, maybe if I repeated the question a third time. In the movie A Bridge Too Far, as in to say A, not in the bridges that were too far, in A Bridge Too Far, how many bridges did the Allies fail to take? I was going to give this one as the freebie, so I apologize if you. I mean, I gave it away in the actual question. The correct answer is in the movie, and the correct answer is one. There was one bridge they failed. There were three bridges they had to take, and they missed one. Oh, Dave is here. He says, "Thanks, Denny." Dave, so glad you're here. Welcome to the show. Moving on, I guess that would make this question number 8. Question 8. Which pardon me. Which historical event was not covered in the Old West epic Little Big Men? Was it A, I don't want to mispronounce this, I apologize to any indigenous or anyone who just hates my mispronunciations, the Washita River Massacre, B, Custer's Last Stand, C, the death of Wild Bill Hickok, or D, the Trail of Tears? And I shall repeat. Which historical event was not covered in the Old West epic Little Big Men? Was it A, the Washita River Massacre, B, Custer's Last Stand, C, the death of Wild Bill Hickok, or D, of the Trail of Tears? Now, this one is just U.S. history. I mean, but well, I see. So far, a person has gotten the right answer. There might be others, but I do see the one. A lot of people guessing B. You know, I'm going to keep you guys out of suspenders now. Spoiler alert: no, he does actually work with Custer and is actually present at the Custer's Last Stand. They kind of cover that in the opening sequence of the movie. I guess you guys haven't seen Little Big Man. The whole thing is he's being interviewed as the last survivor of Custer's Last Stand, or the only survivor, I should say. But the correct answer is D, The Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears was in the 1830s, I believe. And this was in it's post Civil War. It's in the 1870s by and large. So D is the answer. And I shall now move on to number 7. In the Lee Marvin classic flick, The Big Red One, who was the first nation the Americans fight against? Was it A, the Germans or Germany, B, Italy, C, Japan, or D, France? I shall repeat. In the Lee Marvin classic flick, The Big Red One, who was the first nation the Americans fight against? Was it A, Germany, B, Italy, C, Japan, or D, France? And again, in fairness, I think I've talked about this in past live chats because it's one of my favorite trivia questions of all time. It's like, oh, I don't know. It's up there with what famous maritime disaster did Quint supposedly survive during World War II? Actually, if you know the answer to that, put it in the comments and give it to yourself as a bonus. And let's see. Daryl John says no one wants to hit the like button. Why haven't? Come on, 15 likes, guys. Come on, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. Formus Content says gonna just say B over and over D. Well, you were right the second time. I just gave the game away. Dave, good guess but wrong. The correct answer is D, France. The first U.S. engagement was actually in the landings in North Africa, and we were fighting against the Vichy French, who still occupied those territories. So the first in the Western theater, in the European theater, the first ground engagement of World War II was between the United States and France. They capitulated almost instantly, but there was fighting between the United States and, of all things, France. So one more and we'll get scores. Uh-oh. Oh dear. My cards are out of order. Hang on. Give me just 1 second, people. One. Oh, here we go. At this point, though, some of them are unnumbered, so we'll just have to use the honor system. In Cagney's famous World War I themed flick, I'll come in again. Cagney's famous World War I themed flick was based on what famous U.S. Army regiment? Was it A, the 69th, B, the 101st, C, the 82nd, or D, the Big Red One, which of course is the 1st Infantry? I shall repeat. Cagney's famous World War I themed flick was based on what famous U.S. Army regiment? A, the 69th, B, the 101st, C, the 82nd, or D, the Big Red One, otherwise known as the 1st Infantry? Father Ted. World War One. Oh yeah, World War One. Yes. And Pablo says the Revenge of the Creature. Love it. Yes, it would be cool if they used genetically engineered amphibious creatures in World War One. But the correct answer is actually A, the 69th. That's why the movie was called The Fighting 69th. So what do we have for scores here? And I don't think I'm going to do war movies again. I really don't. So let's see. Zublex is 3 for 5. Dave is 3 for 5. Tug is 1 for 5. Oh, Big Guys 45 is here. Big Guys, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Feel free to take part in the second part of the trivia. Dan is 1.5 out of 5. Emily is 1 for 5. Brian is 1 of 5. Pablo says, nah, I was replying to Gary Carpenter. I figured it was something like that, but I just wanted to play along. And wouldn't that be cool if it did happen? Dave got 1. Dominic D got 2. Shannon says, my father was in an artillery unit in World War One. My father-in-law was in artillery in World War Two. Thank him for his service, posthumously, I'm guessing. Only got 1 of 5. Shannon has got 3 of 5. Tug says Dave's trivia was nicer to me. I made a couple of guesses, but I was 6 for 6 on that one. Corey got 0 of 5. Daryl Johnson is 0 for 0. He's not playing. He's just sort of here's a conscience's objector. And Teb got A. And 4 for 4. I missed the first question. No worries. And Tug says, don't divide by 0, Daryl. Shannon has got 3 for 5. Gary Carpenter got 3 for 5. Dave, my granddad was in the Navy. Very good. Thank him for his service. Sibling says, nowadays, no division wants to be known as the Rainbow Division, but there is one. Dave says, gotta run. Have fun, everyone. Dave's so nice you to stop by. Thank you, man. Thank you. Big Guys 45 says, by the way, feel free to follow me on TikTok, Music Trivia Daily. I'm almost at 100 followers. That's amazing. Excellent. And Alex missed the first half of the questions. No worries, you can do it in a replay. And Forms Consent says, I even missed the question on movies I've seen. LOL. Not a problem. I think this may have not been a great gambit, but you know what? We're gonna finish it. And if you guys want to just sort of play lightheartedly, that's fine too. I love fun answers as well as accurate ones. But moving on to, I guess this will be question 5. In the Kubrick masterpiece Full Metal Jacket, whose visit is canceled due to the Tet Offensive? Was it A, President Johnson, B, Secretary of State Kissinger, C, General Westmoreland, or D, Anne Margaret? I shall repeat. In Kubrick's masterpiece Full Metal Jacket, whose visit is canceled due to the Tet Offensive? A, President Johnson, B, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, C, General Westmoreland, or D, Anne Margaret? See, I knew people would get this one. Give another second, but Dave says Popeye. Brent says, feeling a bit Tucker tonight, so I am going to head off too. Brian, thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Oh, and Dan, be a guy and please give a link to Brian's channel. He's been putting on some great stuff, by the way. Oh, and your questions as far as what favorite song by bands go. I've been trying to take a part of many of those as possible. And anyway, the correct answer is, of course, D, Anne Margaret. Does that mean Anne Margaret's not coming? Question 4. The opening sequence of Night of the Generals takes place during what famous Eastern European engagement? The Battle of Tannenberg, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, the seizing of the battleship Potemkin, or the Battle of the Ice? And again, people, I've talked about this before in other chats. I even do a post on Night of the Generals, but I shall repeat. The opening segment of Night of the Generals takes place during what famous Eastern European engagement? Was it A, the Battle of Tannenberg, B, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, C, the seizing of the battleship Potemkin, or D, Battle of the Ice? Which, as many of you know, was actually during the Napoleonic Wars. But I was going to say, I think a lot of people are answering that ironically. That new movie, by the way, has anyone seen? Actually, I don't even think it's come out yet. The new Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix. I don't go to the theaters much, but it looks amazing. Um, he wouldn't have been my first choice for Napoleon, but I think it kind of works. Oh, Dan says the sinking of the Titanic, and Sean says, Gary, I hope your dad got out before being too miserable. Oh, indeed, indeed. And 257 says, haven't seen it, Pawns. Oh, I know, but we've talked about it. It's a World War II movie, so I thought we could guess. But anyway, I shan't keep you guys in suspenders. It was the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Battle of Tannenberg was actually, well, there was two. One was in World War One was a medieval battle, and the battleship Potemkin was in Russia, but as part of well, World War One slash the Revolution. But yes, it's the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Okay, question 3. In the classic World War II epic Midway, what major encounter takes place immediately prior to the Battle of Midway? Was it A, Guadalcanal, B, Leyte Gulf, C, Coral Sea, or D, the Marianas Turkey Shoot? And I shall repeat. In the classic World War II epic Midway, what major encounter takes place immediately prior to the battle? A, Guadalcanal, B, Leyte Gulf, C, Coral Sea, or D, the Marianas Turkey Shoot? I see some people giving the right answer. Good. Dan says the Ewoks were kidnapped. Oh no! Hope they paid the ransom. Emily Miller says the only Midway I know was an Elvis movie, but a bump. Corey says we've learned one thing from war. We don't learn from it yet. Tell me about it. Danny says, "Oh my! Oh, Dan, did you get the package I sent you? By the way, if you haven't got it yet, you should get it soon." And Dave says, Mo's got his own 10 commandments. Moses got his own 10 commandments. But and 257 says watch out for snakes. And yes, you are correct. Those of you who said C, it was the Battle of the Coral Sea. Oh, and number 2. How many brothers did James Francis Ryan lose during the Second World War? And if you need me to connect the dots, yes, this is from Saving Private Ryan. Was it Mrs. Thrash just laughed out loud on that one? Was it in the laughed out loud at me saying she laughed out loud? And well, actually, no, she didn't laugh that time. But anyway, I'm sure she found that funny. She's laughing at that now. Oh, she left. Good thing too. A3, B4, C5, or D7. I shall repeat. How many brothers, and again, in Saving Private Ryan, did James Francis Ryan lose in the Second World War? A3, B4, C5, or D7? Oh, I love people saying hi to Mrs. Thrash. Emily says Moses wrote out the 10 Commandments. Dude was hearing voices. Oh, Gary Gabbard says hello, Mrs. T. Dan says, you sank my battleship. It does sound like I'm reading off battleship coordinates, doesn't it? Doesn't it? And Dave says A1 steak sauce. Well, you're close. And yes, a lot of you people got the right answer. Yes, he lost 3 brothers. And the last question is how many of the Dirty Dozen are still alive at the end of the film? A1 steak sauce. A1, B2, C3, D12. I shall repeat. How many of the Dirty Dozen are still alive at the end of the movie? A1, B2, C3, or D12? And after you answer, well, actually, I have to give you the answer to this one. I'll give you another minute. Oh, Catwoman on the Moon. That was from. Oh, well, there was Amazon Woman on the Moon, but that was the movie was based on. Oh, moving forward. 207 says 300. This is Sparta. Oh, Dan says C3PO. Oh, C3PO. Yeah, I love it. Love it. It's like when I was learning division when I was a kid, and we would do remainder of two, R2D2. Oh, and two only says Space 1999. Love that show. And a lot of you people got the right answer, so I'm just going to nip this one in the boot. And it was B, two. Two of the Dirty Dozen are still alive. Although I will accept C, and I'll tell you why. Lee Marvin's also alive at the end. But Lee Marvin wasn't part of the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen was his team. He was the leader of the dozen. But you know what? Technically, I'll count it. So let's get some scores, such as they will be. And Dave says Batman playing characters with the Joker. Zublik says trick question. Well, it's not a trick question if I give you either answer or allow either answer. But it was Zublik was five for 10. I thought you were 4 for 5 before, but okay. Tug's like, that's tricky, so I'm not going to. So I'm not glad you're counting it. Dan says he was in the Baker's Dozen. Oh, Queen of Outer Space. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Keithy says, recent success 5 out of 6 on Dave's channel. It's B. Yes, B was the correct answer. No, there were 2 still alive. Tug says 5 out of 10. Second half was much nicer. Zuplex 3 of 5. How can you be 5 of 10 and 3 of 5? Or maybe you get 5. Well, so you got, well, that's fine. Dave got 1. Oh, Sean got 8 out of 10. Excellent. Gary got 7 out of 10. Dave's telling us to. He thinks he got one right. Um, it's okay, guys. I won't. I won't do old war movies again. And Ted got 9 out of 10. Excellent. That is an excellent score, and probably better than I would have done. And Emily was 1 out of 10. I know nothing about war movies or U.S. history. That's quite all right, Em. And Tug says, I got a jet. Good night, all. Tug, so glad you could make it. Thank you for joining. And let's just see what else we got going on here. Gary Gardner says, my favorite World War II movie is Yankee Doodle Dandy and Patton. Love both of those movies, actually. And Pablo says, the last full measure was a great Vietnam vet movie from 2020. Sebastian Stan was in it. A lot of people say goodnight to Tug. Dan says, I'm out of here. Happy Thanksgiving and gobble gobble. Dan, so glad you could make it. Thank you very much for joining us. And Dave says, did your best, Thrash Pondo. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. And he says, I thank you. You're very, very welcome. Again, I thought it might be good for Veterans Day, but again, I'll stick to you. Now, tell me, you guys seem to like TV trivia more than movie trivia. I'm a movie buff, but I certainly watched a lot of TV over the years. Would you prefer I stuck with TV themed trivia, or just anything other than World War II movies? And Corey says, thanks, Dan, for everything. And Pablo says, be safe with your travels. That's very kind. And Dan says, happy holidays to all. And Pablo says, eat up and help clean up. That sounds like something my grandmother would have said. And Danny says, anything but war movies. Kind of figured. And Teb is saying goodbye to the unapologetic geek. Or anyone, to great many people, I imagine. Dave says anything about movies and TV. And Pablo says, later get her to Superplex. And Superplex says, TV is nice so long as it excludes anything after the 70s. Oh, I would definitely do nostalgia TV. Although I might want to do some 80s stuff like Hill Street Blues and stuff, but I could keep it 70s for the most part. Oh, speaking of TV trivia, I had the darndest thing. Somehow I was talking about Sherman Helmsley today, and it came up that I never watched Amen. And I don't know why, because I love Sherman Helmsley. I go, there has to be a reason why I didn't watch Amen. I looked it up and I'm like, oh, I see. It was on uh while I was in college from like 86 to 91. I was in college those years. It was probably on a night when I was always out, not at home watching television. And guess what? It was on Dave actually showed a promo for it on his show. It was on Saturdays. And I should have said something to Dave while he was here, but I was busy with the trivia game. But yeah, it was so funny. We were just talking about with my wife. I was talking about Amen, and then it was like, oh, it was on Saturdays, and Dave pointed that out. So that explained everything. And Pablo says, "Bridge on the River Kwai." Well, that's my old credo. I was talking with Tug about it, about how any war movie with the word bridge in the title is a good one. And Gary Garber says, I got the Green Berets in my tape, but it's all messed up. Oh, I'm sorry. And Sean says, I guess I prefer movies to TV, but either works for me. Cool, good to know. And Gary says, anything will do. Emily says, when uh, want Jeffrey McDonald a Green Beret. Okay. And Dan says the last war movie I saw was Captain America Civil Wars. And Jan says, I like 1970s shows that bled into the 80s, like The Hulk, Dallas, and them Dukes of Hazard. Yeah, like all those shows. Emily says, Amen was a cute show. That's why it was weird that I never watched it. And Dave says that was on NBC. I think, yeah. We were watching it on Dave's live stream today. There was a commercial for it, and it was on Saturday nights between two other shows I never got to see because I was never home on Saturday night. Uh, and Gary says I had watched more TV than movies. A lot of people did. A lot of people did back then. Oh my god! Oh my god! SJ Malone is here. Hey SJ, what's going on? Says hi Pondo. Just started collecting comic books at the age of 54. Did you read a lot of comics as a kid? I sure did. In fact, I've actually done some posts right here. I call them merchant recaps. Very similar to what Danny does, where I go through my old comics. I should do more. I should do more of my old comics. In fact, maybe I will this week. But anyway, SJ, so great to see you. I'm glad you were able to come by tonight. And don't be such a stranger. Uh, Tom says, I love The Great Escape. The Great Escape is one of my favorite war movies. I don't know why it didn't come up in today's trivia, but do you know that Steve McQueen only agreed to do that movie if he could do the motorcycle chases that he did towards the end. He wanted to ride a motorcycle in the movie, and they actually said okay. Pablo says late bloomer. SJ, welcome to comic book collecting community, bro. Yeah, you think I have about 300, but Chance, how many thousands would you say you have? He's got a lot too. A lot more than I do. Oh, Emily just jumped off, so I'm gonna try to find. Oh, she says, "Thank you, Zipper. I love reading books based on murders, and it's been a while since I've read that one." Garrett Gabbard says, "Pablo, 70s, 80s will do." SJ says, "Thanks, nostalgic. You can thank the well, the Wattad app." 257 says Bugaloos. And Danny's giving us more links. Thank you very much. Gary Gama says Bigfoot Wild Boy. And Emily says I stopped reading comic books when they tapped out at 125. SJ says, How some facilities can do books for $1 to $5 is fantastic. Dennis Gaines says I paid $4 for a Mothman comic. So, well, that's a coup. Oh, Teb says which TV show premiered in 1990 do you prefer better? Twin Peaks, Living Color, Beverly Hills 90210, Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Law and Order, or Northern Exposure. There's some great ones in there. I got to tell you, Twin Peaks would probably be my favorite, but I absolutely adored Northern Exposure. I really did, particularly the first few seasons. Love Law and Order. Fresh Prince I thought was funny. Living Color was hysterical. The only show out of that I never really watched was 90210. And I'm going to skip down here. China says falling asleep, not a reflection of the stream. Being sick has messed up my sleep. Good night and happy Thanksgiving. Sean, thank you for stopping by. I know you've had a lot taken out of you. The fact that you made it really means a lot to me. Get some rest. Gary Cameron says, only I know that so is Electra Woman and Donna Girl. For this Croft Super Show, I believe you guys are talking about. And Zublik says, I think Tom has a huge collection. Yeah, Tom, you have a lot of comics, don't you? Don't you? And Emily says, of course I have Zuper. I loved Helter Skelter. And 257 says, Donnie and Marie, awful Brady Bunch, variety hour. It's funny. I like the Donnie Marie variety show. I did not like the Brady Bunch variety show. And let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, Pablo says he said something about Electra Woman. Oh yeah, Electra Woman and Dinah Girl fighting all evil deeds. Yes, they certainly did. Oh, Emily Miller said Fresh Prince was her favorite show out of that bunch. A lot of people telling Sean they hope he feels better. Oh, Monster Squad. And Zublix was like me. He liked Twin Peaks. And 257 says every Croft show ever made on bootleg websites. No. And Corey liked Living Color as a comedian. I can certainly see why. Dominic D says never saw 90210 either. And Pablo says new Sid and Marty Croft channel on Pluto. Oh, I did not know that. I did not know that. And SJ says one lost show that I thought was underrated was The Practice. I don't recall The Practice. One police procedural, and maybe one of you knows which one it is. One police procedural show that I absolutely loved, and it only made about 6 episodes. It was a man and woman, the detectives. They investigated bizarre murders and that type of thing. But the gimmick was um that the commercial break bumpers, they would take a member of that week's show. Sometimes it was the perpetrator, and they would have an off-screen narrator asking them questions. And it was like really slick because you felt like you were interrogating this person yourself. It was very cool. And Pablo says it would be appropriate to comment about here, Emily. I should not have brought it up. It's gross. Oh, I missed what was gross, but no worries. And Tom says, yes, I have a huge old comic collection. I thought so. And Teb says, which TV show premiered in 1984 do you prefer better? Murder She Wrote, Miami Vice, Cosby Show, Who's the Boss, Punky Brewster, or Charles in Charge? Ooh, I watched Charles in Charge. Wasn't a huge fan. Never really watched Punky Brewster. I did like Who's the Boss. I love the Cosby Show. I watched Miami Vice, but I wasn't a huge fan. I never really watched Murder She Wrote. So after that, I would have to say the Cosby Show would probably be my number one out of that clutch. Oh, Tom says leaving them in my will. You can leave them to me. And Pod Bless says Charles in Charge to Temp. Oh, and Pablo says loved Nicole Eggert. And Tom says love Northern Exposure. Getting back to that earlier band of shows we were talking about. Pablo says can't watch Bill Cosby anymore. That's the saddest part. That's the saddest part about that show is that not looking back, it just yeah, I can't. Dave says Mama's Family on Pluto. Pablo says Fat Albert. Yeah, I can't do Fat Albert anymore either. Uh, 257 says no, there is not to Pod Blast. And I'm just gonna skip down here. Zublick says those old comic books from the '60s are priceless. They certainly are. They certainly are. And Emily says, "Pod Blast, are you referring to the rumors that he had?" Oh, um, I'm sorry. I thought you were referring to a different conversation, Emily. Sorry. And Corey says, "I forgot about Fat Albert." Well, they don't show it anymore, so I'm not surprised. And and 297 says yes. There are some old shows from the Croft shows on YouTube. And Pablo says it was the way it was described in the story ever since. Uh, Slapgate. Um, uh, from Will Smith. Oh, okay. We were talking about Will Smith. Okay. Well, the thing that I can never get over about Will Smith was his behavior at the Academy Awards. Things kind of it all comes to boil down to that. So, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Oh, everyone's going, hey. So it looks at Will Smith, the Slapgate. Yeah, it took me a second too, but yeah, Slapgate. Teb says, which TV show premiered in 1987 do you prefer better? Full House, Married with Children, 21 Jump Street, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Tracy Ullman Show, 30 something, or A Different World? Loved A Different World. Had a huge crush on Lisa Bonet. Unlike Jason Momoa, though, I didn't get a chance to marry her. Never a huge fan of Full House, but I love Married with Children. Love Married with Children. Really like 21 Jump Street a lot. Of course, Star Trek fan. And I watched the Tracy Ullman show. I thought she was a blast, and of course the Simpsons bits. And I could never watch 30 something. For some reason, that show just never interested me. So that covers, as they say, that. And I was going to skip down. Pablo says, was in the news ever since the Oscar channels. Will Smith is dead to me. That's my opinion. And I welcome yours. Um, I I can't say that he's dead to me. I don't like him anymore. I don't like watching his stuff. I don't think he's cool anymore. He walked up and in front of a billion people knocked the block off someone who actually thought the world of him. And it wasn't just that Chris Rock was half his size. You know the expression pick on somebody your own size? I mean, my wife always points out this man trained to be Muhammad Ali. He's big and buff, and Chris Rock is not particularly big and buff. And I know a lot of people want to blame Jada, and that would be very easy to do and fun. I have never liked her. I've never liked, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this publicly. I've never liked her. She did that really amazing Tupac video. California knows how to party. I love that video. Of course, I'm a big post-apocalyptic buff, so of course I do. But as a person, I've always thought she was something of a mumser. And and Pablo says that's what I mean, Thrash Pondo. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I just I don't know. I think I just I phrased it a little more wussily. You were more direct. I was a little more roundabout. But yeah, just it was just mean. It was mean. And well, Who knows? Maybe someday he will redeem himself. Maybe he and Chris Rock will do a show together. I don't see it happening, but Stranger Things certainly have. And I pontificated for a while. Daryl John says, and Will Smith hits a girl. Oh, hits like a girl. Hits like a. I misread that. I'm like, oh, I felt terrible. He hit a girl too. That's awful. Zublik says, let's get off the subject. Probably for the best. Pablo says, message retracted. A message retracted to you too. Gary Carpenter says, only Father Dowling was great. I do remember that show. It was pretty slick. Um, Emily Miller says, Will Smith will always be one of my favorite celebs. That's just me, though. Never cared for Jada. Never. Again, uh, I was just saying, I can't agree with you more. Corey says, I was talking with a squirrel the other day, and he said the crazier the world gets, the nuts get easier to find. That is such a nice way of looking at it. Oh, and Podblast also agrees as well. I'm assuming about the Jada bit. And Podblast goes on to say, I like Carlton better, lol. Ribeiro, I think he's amazing. I think he's like just funny as didn't he had his own show on the Game Show Network, I believe, for a while. Uh I believe it's been canceled subsequently, but that was cool. Tim says, which TV show premiered in 1988 do you prefer better? Seinfeld, Simpsons, Family Matters, Saved by the Bell, Baywatch, Doogie Howser, MD, America's Funniest Videos, or Rescue 911? You know my answer is going to be The Simpsons. I did like Seinfeld. I liked Family Matters. I didn't get to watch it much. It was running against something else I watched. Didn't really care for Saved by the Bell or Baywatch. Watched Doogie Howser when it was on. I don't even remember Rescue 90210. I did like America's Funniest Home Videos when I got a chance to see it. Gary says, "Is Alfonso still doing AFV? Not sure." Corey says, "You crack me up. You crack me up, so I can stand on mountains." 257 like The Simpsons as well. Tom like Doogie Howser. Keithy says, Willsy said at. Um, John Bernstein is here. Oh, when did you get here, bud? Says, I'm eating Captain Crunch. That's the cool thing about being an adult is you can eat Captain Crunch whenever you want. When I went to college, um, the cafeteria had a like a cereal bar, and if they put Captain Crunch up, particularly with Crunch Berries, it was gone by the end of the meal because it was such a high sugar cereal that your moms would get it for you, but they'd like ration it. Like, no, you can't have Captain Crunch every day. You can have it like on Saturday mornings. Have cornflakes the other days because I had ADHD, and if I had too much sugar, I would literally, not figuratively, literally climb the walls, and I would figuratively, though I'm sure on at least one occasion, literally drive my mother up them. There was this really nice lady who used to watch me from time to time who would let me have ring dings, and chocolate was the worst for some. I guess because of the caffeine in the chocolate. And on the way home, I guess I was like so that my mother would be like, Mama Thrash would be like, Mrs. Blah blah blah, you had ring dings today, didn't she? I'm like, yeah. Somehow, Mom could always tell. Oh, speaking of always telling, one of you and I should have done a rewatch. Um, I was talking about my mom's anti-war experience during the Vietnam phase, not recent anti-war, although wouldn't put it past her. And uh, someone actually made a reference, said something about how she was on the front lines or the battle lines or the Wichita lines. And my mother was very impressed. She's like, "Yes, we used to say that all the time when I was in the village during the movement." So kudos. And I guess what I pontificated again. Actually, I think I'm going to let's just see. I want to make sure. Oh, Tab says, "Do you remember the short-lived T 10 speed and brown shoe with Ben Vereen and Jeff Young, Jeff Goldblum?" Yes. Oh my god, Tim, I do remember that. Yeah, they were like Private Eyes, and it was short-lived, but it was great, and I thought the chemistry between the 2 of them was great, and I don't know why they canceled that show, but it was great. That would have had to have been 78, I wanna say? But yeah, Tim, I do remember it was a great show. Now, again, we're getting on that time, so this is part of the night where I start to say, "Hey," and I mean this with all sincerity, I wanna thank all you guys for showing up tonight. It was just my absolute pleasure. I love doing these shows. I love having you guys here. It looked like a lot of you who bailed early. Oh, Formal Content said, "Super. I am in the same boat. Just discovered the Spirit series. Will keep an eye out for Perry as well. I haven't seen it myself, actually, but please enjoy." And anyway, God, a lot of you people seem to have had to call it early night tonight, and it looks like more of you are calling it early night still. More than I understand. I think this nasty colds going around, at least in my neck of the woods. I'm guessing other parts of the country as well. We all have things to do on Monday. I got my furnace guy coming to work on my furnace tomorrow, which is good because it's starting to get cold up here in the Northeast. But that being said, I got to say, I look forward all week to doing these shows. And I have so much fun doing them. I like to think you guys have as much fun watching them. I know the interaction is great. Um, so many people were so disappointed last week when it cut out early, which, as you notice, I'm not even reaching towards that side of my computer where the plug is. I'm not even going anywhere near it. But you guys were legitimately disappointed when I called it early night, and I was very sorry you guys were disappointed, but it meant a lot. It meant a lot to me that getting deprived of a certain amount of thrash actually meant something to you, and I'll try not to let it ever happen again. But I want to thank you guys. It's flattering that you guys want to spend as much time with me as you guys do. Oh, and Pod Blast says specifically to me, "Have a nice Thanksgiving," but I'm sure he passes that on to everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone as well. Forbes condenses, "This is a busy week with Thanksgiving coming up, and oh no, Thresh, my furnace blower went out. Sorry, we're in the same boat." Well, me, it's that yeah, that stupid pipe that you're never really sure what it does. It just kind of sticks out and points down, and every now and then it drips. Well, it went from dripping every now and then to dripping like frequently. Um, and that usually means that the valve inside the pipe is bust or breaking. And I won't bore you guys with a water heater story, but my water heater is attached to my furnace. So if the thing went down, not only we'd have no heat or hot water, and this is not a good time. It was down in the 30s last night, so it's more a routine maintenance. But I am fixing that thing, that water pipe valve relief thing. But thank you very much for your concern. But wow, my pontification had a pontification there, didn't it? But anyway, of course, happy Thanksgiving to you people. By the next time I talk to you, it'll be after the holiday. And anyway, I just want to thank you guys all for being here. Dan, if you do get that package, please let me know. Please check out comedy. Oh my God, Corey's comedy channel. Love the stuff he's doing there. And oh my God, the Golden Age of Tea is here just in time to say goodnight. Yes, I'm sorry, Pat. We're just wrapping things up. But Dan, would you please, please, please give a link to Pat's channel? I can imagine anyone here on my channel would not know about the Golden Age of TV. Oh, and Pat, love the guests you've been getting, by the way. And did I see? Do you have a? I forwarded as soon as I got it. Do you have an interview with Jodie Foster? Or are you just going to be spotlighting some of her works? Man, if you got Jodie Foster on your show, I'm like so impressed. And in any event, I just want to say again, thank you all. Everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Be good, be safe, be careful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.